almost beating them is not a thing anymore. Like, it's now you expect Gilas Pilipinas to beat a top 10 team or a top 5 team. Like, almost beating them is a no-go anymore. Like, that's the standards now with Gilas Pilipinas. Tim Cohn has said that the B League in Japan, the KBL in Korea, and the other major basketball professional leagues in Asia is probably the best thing that has ever happened to Gilas Pilipinas, aka Philippine national team, basketball-wise. Because ever since they opened up their doors to Asian imports, and majority of these leagues are actually wanting a Filipino import, or their Asian import is usually Filipino. And ever since they opened up those doors, the Philippine national team has gotten so much better. Now, this video, or what I'm about to say, has nothing like, it's not a knock to the PBA, but you know, a lot of people, including myself, people want to see the PBA do well and keep on improving. But not a lot of things has been done when it comes to, you know, until recently, when Japan opened up their doors to Asian imports, same thing with Korea. That's when, you know, the pressure was put on the PBA when it comes to, you know, make some improvement in your league. Where nowadays you're seeing more salary, the salary cap has been pushed higher just to keep PBA players happy. If you want to compare or trying to compete with these other Asian professional basketball leagues, you know, Japan, obviously, I think Bobby Ray Park says something like 7 years that he played in the PBA, he made that in 1 year in Japan, which is crazy, you know? Oh, by the way, if you haven't done so, like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you already did that, I really appreciate it. Thank you. But Ray Parks mentioned like the gap of pay. Not only that, just the treatment. What's his name? Jay Wash from Virginia. He also mentioned that first time playing in Japan, or was it? Yeah, it was in Japan. And he's been in the PBA for the longest time. I think he was going into his 17th year as a professional basketball player. And he mentioned that was the first time, that first year that he played in Japan was the very first time that he felt like he was a professional basketball player. And that's a big statement from somebody that's been hooping in the Philippines for damn near 2 decades. And what makes like those two leagues, mainly Japan B League and KBL, ever since they've opened up their doors to Filipino players, and now these players are coming back to the Philippines playing for Gilas, and now you're seeing the highest quality of, you know, basketball and just overall performance by Gilas Pilipinas in the international stage. Obviously, internationally they had to compete. You know, in FIBA, they've ranked the highest. They've beaten a top 5 country in the world, which is in Latvia at that time. When was that? 2023. You know, they beat Latvia when they were top 5 in the world, and that's a big statement. I don't think there's an Asian country that has done that. I mean, if obviously you're gonna include Australia up in there, where recently they've been added to Asia. Same thing with New Zealand. Like, they had their own Oceania region zoning wise when it comes to qualifying with FIBA, but now they joined them together. Obviously, they're a very, very good team. I think they're top 10. But before that, some people don't really consider them as an Asian country. But what about you guys? Do you guys consider them as an Asian country? Because it's, you know, I think it's a good like them being the Asian zone, adding New Zealand and Australia, because I felt bad for New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand is a good basketball country, but there's only one of them could make it to, you know, any major tournaments, unless if they do, you know, they go like at the back route of qualifying for Olympics, World Cup, or whatever the case may be. But for the longest time, it was just them two, just, all right, best man may come out. But it was always Australia that will come out of that group. But again, ever since the major countries, Japan and Korea, has opened up their doors, it also helped the national team, the Philippine national team, in major ways. Now they have, every year, it seems like they have really good talents that they keep on signing. Some of them do end up, I think for the most part, people do end up in, or I'm not end up, but like they end up staying in the B League or in the KBL a little bit longer than a lot of players. But I think for the most part, yeah, people do. Can you guys drop the names down in the comment section if you can? Because I think for the most part, when they do get signed, ever since 30, Kiefer, Ravenna, the Ravenna brothers, ever since they signed their first contract overseas, they haven't came back. Same thing with, you know, the Dwight Ramos, obviously Kai. Who else? I mean, there's some players that came back, but, you know, it's a very, very select few of them. My point is, there's only a very few of them, but when they do come back to the Philippine national team, they end up, you know, performing very well. Like, they're used to that type of competition, high level, organized type of competition, compared to the players that are coming from the PBA. And when they go over there and represent Gilas or represent Philippines in the international level, they don't perform as well as, or as consistent as, the KBL guys or the B League guys. You know, the Carl Tamayos, the Kevin Cambao, like them guys, you know, has not came back ever since they went overseas and started hooping out there. And for the most part, if you see the national team with Gilas Pilipinas, they've always, for the most part, the team look like they're all KBL and B League guys. Yes, there's some, I'm not saying all the players that are coming from the PBA. You know, you got Justin Brownlee has been playing very well for Gilas Pilipinas for the most part, except for the last window. You know, New Zealand was, you know, they locked them down, which was their game plan. That was their defensive scheme. But, you know, Junmar as well played, you know, he's been very consistent. He's a big, Tim Cohn has mentioned before that every time they, especially in that window for the Olympic qualifiers, was it Olympic qualifiers when they beat Latvia? Let me know in the comment section, because I think it was Olympic qualifiers. They also beat Serbia at one point. Like, they lost to Serbia by 1 point, and that team had NBA players, and obviously Gilas Pilipinas didn't have any NBA players. But yeah, they lost to Serbia by one. And going back to what I was gonna say about Junmar Fajardo, Tim Cohn, during those tournaments, those qualifying tournaments, every time, you know, they faced a European team or any team, they've always had some type of defensive scheme towards Junmar Fajardo, because that's, you know, the impact that Junmar Fajardo was, you know, huge. Not, you know, sometimes you won't even like the intangibles or the things that you could see on the stat sheet. And, you know, I'm not saying all PBA players doesn't contribute to the Gilas Pilipinas, but at the end of the day, ever since the B League, the KBL, you know, those leagues for the most part, ever since they've opened up their doors to Asian imports, and they usually take Filipino imports for their Asian slots. You know, it's not a coincidence that Gilas Pilipinas has played, you know, much better in a much different style of play. You know, you could see it in the results. You know, now you're seeing these big time powerhouse countries when they play against them. You know, almost someone is passing, so I'm letting them get into the main street. But you know, some of them, I lost my train of thoughts. What was I gonna say? Anyways, yeah, ever since they've opened up, you know, the slots for Asian imports, the Filipino players that end up coming back and representing Philippines has performed very well. And all in all, yes, every time Philippines, I almost lost that thought. Every time Philippines has played a powerhouse in FIBA, almost beating them is not a thing anymore. Like, it's now you expect Gilas Pilipinas to beat a top 10 team or a top 5 team. Like, almost beating them is a no-go anymore. Like, that's the standards now with Gilas Pilipinas. Tim Cohn has said that. You know, Chot Reyes has done a great job building Gilas to this point as well. And, you know, that's why KBL B-League is the best thing that ever happened to Gilas Pilipinas. But what about you guys, man? What do you guys think? Is the B-League the best thing that ever happened, or KBL? Are those leagues the best thing that ever happened to Gilas Pilipinas? Let me know in the comment section. And if you made it this far, you watched my video all the way here, I really appreciate it. And you might as well like this video and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I will see you guys. Oh yeah, there's 2 videos that's about to pop up right now. I will see you guys on the next one, and have a good day.